Radio.
Going on? Hi, everybody. First of all, let me just fix my camera really quickly. There you go. Hi. All right. So I know it's been a while, but we're here. Anyway, I want to say a big thank you to the returning listeners slash viewers. Another big thank you to Spooky for joining us today. And if you are new here, this is Now Radio, a place where we talk about anything and everything. So come with an open mind. Be prepared to be offended. And my name is Alistair Anzekyo. I'm co-hosted by
Beefy, your favorite shit-talking squirrel friend.
And today we're going to discuss a interesting topic that's been quite hot for quite a while, right? We just got to it now just because we have busy lives. And it's about P. Diddy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, we were going to jump on it a couple weeks ago, but it actually, I think, kind of works out because he just had his first appearance in court today, right? Wasn't he? Some appearance or something? So I guess we might be okay. I don't know. Let us know in the comments if we're jumping on this bandwagon late or if this is topical or what.
Now, let me just acknowledge the people who are here. Hi, Boba. Hello. Wow, Heliana. It's been a while. Sorry, I just burped. Sorry, it's been a while. Hi. Hey, Spooky, your mic is on mute. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I know.
Ah, okay. Boy, oh boy. One person though I wish I was not is, well, there's many people I wish I wasn't, but one of them is definitely Puff Daddy. Now I have some insight experience. Oh my god, I've been everywhere. Yes, I have.
With Diddy? Did you go to one of his parties?
I did not go to one of his parties. However, the opportunity.
I remember you telling me you were in New York going to raves and stuff. I could picture you at one of the freak offs, you know, in your goth, skin tight tank top with a bunch of holes in it.
That's the story. You got it. That's the story. At some point in my young life, there was an opportunity for me to get there. The only good thing, and I got to tell you, is because as an introvert and I love to stay home, I was like, can I just go home? And I went home. It just too much stimulation for my taste, but it did happen. That's it.
Oh, Bubba's saying the trial has not started yet, so it's still fresh. Okay, cool.
Yeah, who knows what's going to change before this stream is even over? So
yeah,
this will be old news.
Oh, actually, one thing. So I know Beefy. I know you have family in Florida. How are they doing?
Yeah, good. Actually, I just heard from them today because they're in a shelter right now at a high school. They actually sent me a picture of like the little. They're like serving the crappy pizza with the milk cartons for food for everybody. And I just got the update. They're all safe and they're living in like a little old person park with a trailer home. And so they're really worried that thing was just going to get blown, to complete smithereens. And from what I understand, the house is still standing. And how's everything in your neck of the woods in New Jersey? You having a good week?
I've been single parenting for almost a month now. And wow. Yeah. Yes, I know. I'm still standing. And that's a storm in itself, right? But
when is Chris coming back?
He got back Friday. Last Friday.
Oh, good. So you're kind of getting relieved a little bit. Are you going to get some time to yourself this weekend, hopefully?
Not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to go October 20 something. We're going to go and to Cape May and just disconnect.
Nice.
Stare at the wall for a second, maybe put our feet in the beach. It doesn't matter. Just
carve some jack-o'-lanterns.
I don't even know what that is, but sure.
You don't know what a jack-o'-lantern is?
No, what is that?
It's the pumpkin. You carve a pumpkin and put a candle in it.
Oh, I did that already for the girl. It's hard to entertain a toddler.
That's too soon, man. They're gonna get you got to wait at least a couple weeks out, otherwise they get all soggy and shit.
Apple picking. I had to entertain this little girl of mine, and she's one of the smart ones. She's like, "What are we doing next? What are we doing next?" I'm sitting there like, "Oh my god."
How about you, Spooky? Have you carved your jack-o'-lantern yet?
Haven't even gotten a pumpkin yet. I know of all people, like me not having one is crazy, but.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it next weekend. Me and the girl are doing it. What about Columbus Day? It's Columbus Day this weekend. You guys got plans?
No.
Are you drinking a Prime? Dude, don't give Logan Paul any advertising on this show. Make sure you keep that label facing out.
I turned the label. I deliberately did that.
Does it good?
Did you really? Do you really think we're worried about fucking Logan Paul coming after?
No, I just didn't want. I was like,
Does it taste
no
good?
promotion.
Does it taste
Yeah,
good?
Prime's delicious. It's got like less sugar. They're made as like a coconut water base, but I like Prime.
You know,
Yeah,
he's
I
being
love this
sued
one.
pretty hard.
Like,
Logan Paul
Oh.
is for what?
Yeah, he's being sued pretty hard. Apparently, the stuff in that bottle, it's not his. So it is. I think he's being sued for almost all the money he made out of it
wow.
Huh.
by Gatorade, I believe.
Well, whoever it belongs to, I hope they make it again and keep it coming because I like it.
Is it the
I like
Gatorade?
this
I
one
like
and the
it.
red one. Like that's it.
Anyway,
Bubba's saying, "Can't say you blame me. Good to disconnect for a while." Yeah, me and the girlfriend this weekend actually we're going up to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, to where she got a trailer up at a camp. It's a 3-hour drive. It's gonna be nice. Pretty excited. Can't wait.
any
That'll
technology
test you
there?
guys, huh?
There's no Wi-Fi, but like you
crap.
can my phone gets service, so I can TikTok and all that. It's just that I got to use my data.
Careful. Perfect
Yeah.
place to get lost.
Yeah, you hear all the stories of
Yeah,
people
that's how
going on
hard
hikes
it
and
is,
disappearing
isn't it?
forever.
Those stories happen when people go in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I like the head.
How about you guys? You got plans for the long Columbus Day weekend?
No, cleaning my house and dealing with my 5 dogs. So
Wow.
Nice.
that's plenty of work.
Well, honestly, like the older I get, the more I realize like the best plan is no plan. I remember like back when I was younger, I used to be like, man, I've got nothing going on this weekend. I'm just gonna sit around and do nothing. And now in my 30s, it's like I have nothing going on this weekend. I don't have to do anything. It's like my favorite.
I know. I pray for people to cancel plans.
Yeah,
I just say no. I don't pray for nothing. I'm like not doing it. Yeah. Oh wow. So Beefy, you worked very hard on this, I've heard.
Yeah, man. I did a lot of research. I almost didn't really, and I feel like I say this every time, but I didn't realize how deep the web of Sean P. Diddy Combs really went. Like, I'm sure most of us have heard the recent allegations, kind of, just in the past, like the headlines of the 1,000 bottles of lube and the 700 dildos and, the elevator video. But like the extent of this man's like debauchery or debaucherousness, it goes back further than most of us probably could even fathom. Like from basically his initial launch into superstardom, he had been breaking the law and roping basically everyone around him into a massive criminal enterprise, including like other various celebrities. Like, we'll get into some of the names, but
yeah,
he has been indicted on racketeering charges. And for anybody that doesn't know really what those involve, it's basically like back in the early days of the FBI, when the FBI was first formed during Prohibition, they kind of changed the way you can prosecute people with, I believe, what are referred to as RICO predicates. And so to charge somebody on racketeering, there basically has to be proof that there's some form of criminal enterprise going on. So for him to get charged on racketeering means that he didn't do any of this stuff alone, but more importantly, that he had some form of criminal syndicate with like some form of illegal goal. Like in this case, it's sex work, but typically where you'll see the term racketeering and RICO predicates is with organized crime. But
organized crime.
There really aren't that many differences between like a gangster and Sean P. Diddy Holmes. So like really at the center of all of this stuff, it really ultimately boils down to a sex crime ring with a pseudo cuckold Tony Soprano, who kind of...
It's actually, I think what the feds alluded to, that it could be more than just sex trafficking. I'm sorry, than human trafficking.
Yeah, I think, eventually the bottom to a lot of this, but we will hear a lot more about like the extent of his abuse and the manipulation that he like truly was capable of and was kind of enacting behind the scenes and taking everyone down along with him. I mean, like I said, there's tons of celebrities, but we'll go through a lot of them. But I mean, J-Lo, Kid Cudi, Cuba Gooding Jr., Chris Brown, Lil Rod, Cassie. The list just goes on. And, you know, whether or not they were victimized and or in criminal cooperation with, they're all still being thrust into this media spotlight alongside him by a man who, through it all, mentally and physically abused all of these people around him at a scale the likes of which, like I said, has never been replicated before, but we really don't have a full grasp on. Like, I don't think it has fully been fleshed out yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching videos and reading shit for days.
To do these things.
Well, you have to be completely immoral. Like there must be something wrong with you. Kind of like people who harm children. It's impossible to relate because it just you can't. So,
but like, how do they have like a club,
conversation,
if you will,
right.
of like, so like I could never be like, hey, Alistair, so how do you feel about minors? Like,
yeah, I know exactly
it's illegal. So like, how does that get brought up? Like, you want to do some illegal stuff with me?
Well, have either of you heard the term freak off before?
Yeah.
Not before P. Diddy, but
yeah. I am intimately familiar of a quote unquote freak off. It is an atmosphere I'm intimately familiar with. You know, basically just it's payday and you load up on booze and drugs and you're just kind of letting the freak flag fly. You know, it's hours and hours of getting fucked up and doing some fucking. It's basically just debauchery for debauchery's sake. And I think, you know, you asked the question, how did he talk all these people into it? The answer is money and drugs, really. You know, he was going to pay them X amount of money, and he, in some cases, forced these people to take lots and lots of booze and alcohol to make that, you know, pressure and manipulation that much easier because they're under the influence.
So just to get the terminology, so freak off does not necessarily involve hard drugs, right? So alcohol and the understanding that we're going to have group sexual interactions, right? Now, in P. Diddy case, it's what we call PNP, which is party and play. And PNP involves hard drugs and potentially the attendees understand that their drink might get spiked, right? So it's specific in a sense of volunteered debaucheries, right? So
is this a term that you were familiar with, like in the club scene in New York?
Absolutely. So the freak off is so he used that word to be very clear because it's two distinct worlds, but he acted as a PNP party, but it was promoted as a freak off, right? So the people, because PNP is a certain type of people, and nobody, you don't just go there, you know. But freak off, you can get a bigger crowd because at the freak off, you understand that at least your drink won't be spiked. We're just going there to have fun and I have the consent. PNP is you go.
So you're saying there's a difference between a freak off and a PNP, as you put it?
Correct. Correct. So freak off, there's still consent involved. PNP is you go to a party knowing that your idea of consent might not be there. So it's a winning risk, so to speak. PNP is
so it's almost like you walk into a PNP with implied consent to anything goes.
Exactly. And some people like that. Some people want to go. It's like a freak off on storage. You go in there and be like, someone take me, whoever, do whatever you want. Some people enjoy that.
Well, I think that Diddy was very much presenting these freak offs as the former of these freak offs that kind of aren't what you're referring to. But I think as the hours went on and as he got more and more ravenous for this debaucherous lifestyle, it devolved into more the PNP because there are several examples of him drugging people unknowingly or even forcing people to do drugs when they didn't want to.
Yeah.
But these freak offs, certain bottles that were laced and then only the women drank out of them or something like that, and the guys knew not to.
That's right. And you know what's so interesting about that? And again, this is just for educational purposes for those who don't know, is that when you go into a PNP party, they kind of tell you like where the drugs are and what will happen. Like over there, if you drink this, you will forget everything, right? It has a liberatingness to it because the people who go there willingly knowing that everything goes, and so you have a menu of the hard drugs. So PMP is
menu. Can you imagine?
It's quite insane, you know what I mean? But the free cough is like
I'll take a main course of painkillers with a side of cocaine, and then I guess we'll just start off with a few shots of tequila.
That's right. There's meth on the table. There is, of course, you have cocaine. That's the usual. You have a lot of stuff there, and it's right there. It's awful.
Bubba says, every time I hear about the freak off, I picture that episode from The Boys, Herogasm. Do you know what he's referring to? Did you guys see The Boys? I read about it more in the comic books, but it gets a lot more crazy in the actual comic books. I mean, it's fucked up in the show, but they like bring a bunch of civilians in and rape them. And anyways, I shouldn't be saying this stuff on our YouTube. Anyways, moving on. These so-called freak-offs or white parties, as P. Diddy liked to describe them as, often consisted of masks, a plethora of drugs, as you refer to, sometimes forced upon participants, either voluntarily or not, as we discussed, and dozens and dozens of sex workers on hand to basically carry out all of Diddy's wants and desires at a whim, more or less. And these parties would primarily be the catalyst of the undoing of this rap mogul. But before we get there, I want to take a step back and kind of examine the man behind it all. Who is Sean Puff Daddy Combs, as he was previously referred to as Puff Daddy? Sean Combs, born in 1967 in Harlem, New York, and then later raised in Mount Vernon, New York, was born to one Janice and Melvin Combs. His mother was a model and teacher's assistant while his dad served in the Air Force. And although his father would be shot to death, supposedly surrounding ties to a known drug dealer, Frank Lucas, when Sean was only 2, he was raised as an altar boy. Can you believe that?
Of course.
Combs graduated from Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic school where he played on the football team, even winning the division title with his team in 1986. And it was at this point he was given the nickname Puffy, as he would huff and puff while angrily on the football field. So he would get all worked up. He'd have a hard time running or whatever. And, you know, whether he had asthma or whatever, he was constantly huffing and puffing. And that's how he got the nickname Puffy. Oh, hey, Casey Chambers. Good to see you. Thank you for coming out. Moving on eventually to a business degree at Howard University. He only completed 2 years and would later on in his career be awarded an honorary doctorate. That's right. Technically, Dr. Diddy, as we would soon come to know him, did receive an honorary doctorate. It's not official, but he is actually a doctor. This is real. And this is his acceptance speech for when he gets awarded this doctorate, which obviously would be stripped from him. But let's take a look at this really quick.
And even though I only completed 2 years here at Howard, it was the greatest 2 years of my life.
Puff Daddy gets a degree.
Congratulations, Dr. Combs.
Dr. Combs.
The man of many name changes can now add another to his growing list, as Dr. Combs picked up his honorary doctorate from Howard University in Washington.
Howard didn't just change my life, it entered my soul, it entered my heart, it entered my being, my spirit. And even though I only completed 2 years here at Howard, it was the greatest 2 years of my life.
Well, congrats, Dr. Diddy. Enjoy a lifetime of academia.
A lifetime of academia. Not so much. Oh, it's disgusting. The people who need the least get the most.
For that?
Yeah, if I was an actual doctorate at Howard University, I would be pretty pissed off.
Well, he was, you know, his celebrity status is probably what made people blind or look away from, you know, it's his debaucheries. So yeah, now
he was an altar boy. That's explaining a lot.
Yeah, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
Well, as I said, that title would not last long, as his recent allegations would see Howard University strip that title, even going so far as to decline a $1 million donation from the once esteemed good Dr. Combs But getting back to our story, dropping out of university, Combs, after his first year, he then picked up an internship at One Uptown Records. That's him in college, by the way. What a strapping young man. And it was here at Uptown that Diddy would get his foot in the door of his rap career, bumping elbows with such known acts as Joe Decci, Mary J. Blige, Heavy D and the Boys, Biggie Smalls, just to name a few. And even going back to even these days, Diddy already had a reputation for throwing wild and crazy parties, with a lot of his college classmates claiming his parties were, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime type of vibe. If nothing else, Puffy knew how to throw a party, and it would be these skills that would lead him to the future rap icon into his first brushes with the law.
Oh my God, you just named like my whole playlist. Growing up, like every person, I was like, oh God, I love them. Oh my God, I love that music.
Yeah, I love some Biggie. Do you know Heavy D here?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, alongside Heavy D, Combs would promote a charity basketball game for the City College of New York in an attempt to raise awareness during the 1980s AIDS epidemic. Some 5,000 people would pile into the small community college gymnasium, only rated for less than 3,000 people. So there was an excess of 2,000 people. To be fair, he did his job. He was a promoter and he promoted it. But there were so many people, these 2,000 extra, 5,000 crammed into a 3,000 person venue. There was effectively a stampede, leading to the wrongful trampling deaths of 9 people and 29 injuries. Attendees of the event account Diddy walking past them rather unaffected as the ensuing carnage went along, walking calmly yet tentatively behind the stage to collect his end of the event money. Quote, he walked right past me after there was a big rush into the gym. He was with Devontae Adams from Joe Decci, she said, and he didn't seem concerned about what was going on. He just wanted to get his stuff and get out of there. I never got the sense of remorse or accountability, just like, let me get my stuff and get out. So we're kind of already seeing the first brushes with the law here. Diddy would claim relatively basically no responsibility for his role in these deaths, despite signing several contracts to the contrary. In fact, right here you'll see the contractor shall carry paid insurance. He was literally named as the person who was responsible for providing insurance, but was also liable should this thing event. So as much as he's claiming he had no responsibility for the event, on paper, he was basically the only one responsible. And thereby he would be, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, did the insurance company went after him?
There were lawsuits after the fact that would name several people. I know that the victims of the family sued Combs along with these here. Actually, I think the next slide. Yeah, these are the people that were ultimately sued. So I don't know. I didn't see anything about the insurance company going after Combs as much as I did the families. So maybe the insurance companies didn't have to pay out as much as the families would have liked. I'm not really sure about that.
And he was just in college, right? He wasn't a big shot then, right?
He was an intern for Uptown Records. I definitely wouldn't call him a big shot. He was earning a reputation. Like I said, he was bumping elbows with all these names, and he was, cutting his teeth as a promoter. He wasn't a name. Go ahead.
Sorry, let me interrupt. Do you know if by him being a intern for Uptown Records, do you know if was it official? Was he officially an intern, or he just happened to be working? Oh, I see. So most and the Uptown Records and insurance covered all these people. So that's why nothing came out of it, I assume, right? No responsibility on his end.
So him promoting the event was separate from his internship at Uptown Records. He did that in partnership with Heavy D. So Uptown really had no affiliation nor liability with the deaths of the Stampede. It was all on these parties we're seeing here. The officials of the City College, whatever Cooney is, ESG representatives, Sean Coombs, and certain individuals attending the event.
Interesting. So I'm surprised nothing came, no jails, and the people died. Nothing came out of that. Wow.
Well, like I said,
Travis, whatever his stupid name is, in that situation that just recently happened at what was it? The hell was that thing called? The Kylie Jenner's boyfriend. Those people got trampled at his concert, and he was like encouraging.
Oh, Travis
right, I
Scott. Yeah.
remember. Travis Scott. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he had to pay up, right?
I don't know. Did he?
I think he paid for or offered to pay for the funerals or something like that. But
Yeah, I
it,
think the
I don't really
insurance
think he
paid
got
up.
as much shit for it as he should have, like,
Wow.
because he was kind
Yeah,
of.
that's a very very similar thing to what happened here.
Wow. Surprised. Okay. Wow.
Well, several wrongful death and personal injury lawsuits would be filed against those responsible, including Combs and all of the responsible parties you see here. And I'm kind of conflicted. Like I said earlier, it was his job to promote, and as a promoter, it's kind of his job to fill the place, and he did. I think he was young and really only focused on that one thing, even though what his job was had a lot more responsibility. I think he really just took that gig kind of young and ignorant, thinking, oh, I'm going to pack this place. It's going to be great. But there are a lot of safety obligations, as I'm sure you're very aware, Alistair, as an entrepreneur, that come along with that.
Yeah. I think also it's hard to put blame on him because he was young and he was just trying to do his job. And also when you promote an event, some people might not show up. So you always want to promote above what the occupancy is. Now it's up to the venue to vet people and stop entry. So the venue has to count them and then close the doors, right? But usually in a promotional ticket, they should say, that in fine print. So there's a lot of steps that I'm sure the insurance have looked at. If nothing came out of that, then I'm sure they've done their due diligence, because when people are dead, people want to get paid. And
yeah, the second somebody dies, everybody starts searching for somebody to blame. And as much as Combs would try to claim that he was not responsible, he signed the documents. Like, he was the one who was liable. And hopefully these people got a handsome payday. Not that it certainly makes up for anything in its capacity, but
bless you.
As I said, Combs to this day claims
I tried to hide that.
he had no meaningful role in the events that led up to the stampede, going as so far to reference the tragedy in one of his rap songs, stating, quote, sorry, I thought I had it. This is in one of his rap songs. He says, "To the city college deceased, may you rest in peace. To the families, I never meant to cause pain. I know the truth, but if you want, then I'll shoulder the blame." He's basically saying, like, I didn't do anything wrong, but, if you're going to blame me, whatever. Like, fuck you, bro.
I can see him saying that.
It's such a tasteless thing to just, like, slide a line there into a rap song. Like, ugh. On the backs of 9 dead and 29 injured. Yeah. Just a really nasty look, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, even dating as far back as 91 when this event happened, we're seeing the glimpses into this man's persona, throwing huge parties without any regard for anyone else and then making the entire situation basically only about himself. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be long after this incident that Diddy would rise to prominence within Uptown Records, eventually being promoted to vice president before eventually being fired in 1993, wherein he would start his own record label, Bad Boy Records. And we all know Bad Boy Entertainment, right? I mean, it's just
Bad Boys for life.
Yeah.
The little child there is fitting, right?
And there's like an intro in the songs, right? Like Bad Boy or something. Like, they all have their like muster on the beat or whatever it is. I'm pretty sure they're like one of the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
Well, seemingly already leading into this bad boy persona, it may have been chic to carry that bad boy or gangster brand back in the 90s with counterculture in the wake of all these discussions, allegations. But in 2024, it's really kind of not a good look having his business called Bad Boy. Again, in my opinion, to have all these claims against you and the CEO of Bad Boy, like, yeah, you're a bad boy. All right. You've been up to some fucking business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally agree.
Well, kicking things off with Bad Boy Entertainment, his first official release alongside with him would be Notorious B.I.G. And his first studio album, Ready to Die. That's this one. Everyone knows this CD, right? Who does not know this album?
I don't.
Stop it. You're the same age as me, Alistair.
Yeah, but I think did it make international? I don't think I was in the country. What year did that come out?
93, 94?
I was not. I was not here. I was not here in the U.S. I was too busy with that en France doing.
Are you a rap fan?
I'm not even a rap fan, so it would have gone through
Oh.
so many layers to even get to me. It has to cross the ocean, transcend music styles, and fall on my lap. I was too busy.
Well, even so, you know who Notorious B.I.G. is and Tupac and all that.
Yeah. No, I know. I just don't know the album. Yeah, I know.
Very, very famous, especially in the 90s. They were basically conquering the rap world, and a lot of that success they have, like, to be fair, they have to put on the shoulders of P. Diddy, like him bringing Biggie Smalls from Uptown Records and releasing these albums. I mean, a lot of Biggie's success he does owe to Combs. Combs would really kind of serve as a mentor to Biggie, not only producing his very lucrative albums, but working hand in hand his entire career.
Yeah.
You know, of course, down the road, money would become a source of tension for these two. Mm-hmm. As Biggie's star was rising, it became like more and more clear he was kind of outgrowing the, at that time, very small startup record company, Bad Boy Entertainment. Mm-hmm. So by the time 1997 rolls around, and with the expiration of Smalls' contract with Bad Boy, tensions between Biggie and Diddy were really at an all-time high. Biggie he'd just been recorded stating on radio interview promoting the release of his newest single, Hypnotize, on the San Francisco radio station KYLD, The Doghouse. Smalls would go on to state that he, quote, feared for his life and that he'd recently hired a security detail. The exact circumstances behind this fear are kind of unknown, leading many to believe perhaps these contract negotiations with Diddy may have been at least playing a factor. Now, okay, we're going to be kind of going down a little bit of rabbit hole with this whole Biggie Smalls thing. It's
conspiracy.
Yeah, some of it's like conspiracy theories, but it's important to provide context. It's very much the narrative surrounding Diddy in the 1990s. And I don't think in any way he's responsible for the deaths of Biggie Smalls or Tupac. But whenever you have the conversation around like who done it, and I think we should eventually cover that case on this show sometime. That would be great. But he always comes up, like whether it's just logistically for what was going on of the facts of the case, or motive wise, he's so intertwined into the story of Biggie Smalls and Tupac's death that we kind of have to talk about it if we're going to talk about the life of Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, Biggie said he was scared for his life, though, because wasn't that right after Tupac was killed? And then it was like the whole vibe of that back and forth East Coast West Coast thing, and he was like the only one left.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right. So when Biggie was shot leaving an award show in '97, this was about 6 months removed from the Tupac death, and the common notion was Biggie shouldn't be anywhere near California. We're going to get into a little bit of that more, but the overall theory seems to be that Combs was kind of pushing Biggie to go to LA, even though it was like very widely known he should not be there. He's implicated in the murder of Tupac, like whether criminally or just, public persona wise, he should not be there. And Combs was really pushing for, as a businessman, because he has the rights to the album, he needs to go out there and promote it. He's pushing Biggie to go out to LA. Now, like, what's the exact motivation in that? Is he worried about Biggie going somewhere else and, not wanting to lose that money? Or does he want to make an example of Biggie? You know what I mean? Like, oh, don't try and cross Combs or you're going to end up like Biggie did. Or was it just like, hey, I need this guy to promote an album. If he ends up getting shot, not the worst thing in the world. Like, who really knows? You know what I mean? Only Combs
like
does.
That, I believe. I think that's more that. I don't think he deliberately was like, I'm going to go and kill Biggie, but I do think what you just said is that he was like, oh, I need to promote this album. I need to make some money. I'm sure nobody will shoot him. Go.
And I'm not exactly worried about his safety at this moment, because if he dies, it's just good for me.
Yeah.
Well, as we're alluding to, Biggie would indeed be murdered on his way home from an award show, the 11th annual Soul Train Music Awards. And many speculate that because Combs had taken several life insurance policies out on not just Smalls' life, but the untimely end to a burgeoning and lucrative record deal, but more importantly, to send a message to other artists, as I said, that may seek to leave Bad Boy in favor of a more promising deal elsewhere. By the spring of 1997, again, 6 months removed from the murder of Tupac, a lot of people implicated Biggie in the murder of Tupac. And so as I said, he's definitely not welcome in the city of LA.
Wow. Do you know how much that life
Fat
insurance?
Riddick.
What's that?
Who, me?
So I'll go. Do you know how much that life insurance was?
I didn't see that anywhere. I'm not sure.
Wow. Go ahead, Spooky.
Oh, I was making a side comment that Biggie looks like a fat Riddick with those glasses on.
A fat Riddick.
It's really just like insignificant. I didn't think anybody was going to hear me, but yeah, I can't get over the glasses. They look like the glasses that Riddick wore in Pitch Black, I think it's the movie, and Riddick, I guess was called.
I'm still stupefied that you can open a life insurance policy on someone without them knowing.
I know. That's not family or whatever. I've always wondered about that too. How is that possible?
Yep. Welcome to America, where they just want your payment no matter whatever cost. Yeah, it's quite insane.
Well, like I said, Biggie was basically enemy number one going into LA during this whole award show thing when he was murdered. It was very much tensions were high. Combs had actually lessened Biggie's security despite Biggie stating publicly that he wanted more security. And he's requiring him to go to a city where there's more or less like people are out for his life. So I just want to play a clip quick of people that were closest to the situation and their whole 2 cents on it. Because like I said, there's a lot of theories out there. People say a lot. And I just want to get their 2 cents from the people that were closest to it.
Appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night.
Diddy convinced Biggie to come down to LA at a time where Biggie shouldn't be seen anywhere around the city. He also didn't provide good security for his top star. It just doesn't make sense. And Gene Deal echoed this sentiment. In this interview, Gene Deal expressed his perspective on the circumstances surrounding Biggie traveling to Los Angeles shortly after Tupac's death and the aftermath of the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop feud. Gene Deal begins by addressing the criticism that Biggie might have been asking for trouble by going to L.A. so soon after Tupac's killing. He dismisses the idea appropriate for Biggie.
You can't? Okay, you can hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me try it. Let me try it again. 1 sec. That's weird.
Oh. Are we supposed to watch something? I was like, okay.
I thought we were just listening to an audio clip.
Oh, that's weird. It's not showing up. All right. Well, that's not much longer. We'll just let this play and I'll try it again. But yeah, let's listen to this.
To be in LA at that time, stating that the majority of people would agree he had no business being there.
You would get 100 people in the room, and out of the 100 people, probably 3 would say it was all right for Big to be in LA. 97% of those people would say he had no business in LA at that time. We all knew that.
Deal questions why Diddy would rent studio time in LA for Biggie to finish his album when they had their own studio, Daddy's House in New York. Deal questions the decision to send Biggie to LA, suggesting it was a risky move given the recent violent incidents and tensions between East Coast and West Coast artists.
Why would Puff rent studio time? Come on, man. Look, you got to look at what people do, man. You know Pac just got killed. It ain't no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk. He couldn't run. They was pushing him around in a wheelchair, brother.
If the allegations are proven true, the legal ramifications for Diddy could be severe. The murder of the notorious B.I.G. remains an unsolved case, and the revelation of Diddy's alleged involvement could reopen the investigation and lead to a reevaluation of the evidence. There's strong evidence connecting Diddy to Biggie's death, but there's even more suggesting his involvement in Tupac's murder.
Well, there you have it. I mean, it's a good question, right? Go ahead.
So they said Biggie couldn't. Was he being figurative or literal, or being literal when he said Biggie couldn't run?
Well, I mean, he's huge. Wrong. There's no way. Yeah, there's no way Biggie could have run. Whether or not he was actually in a wheelchair, I don't know.
I didn't want to laugh, but I just wanted to double check that he was using his inability to run into the whole he can't run. You're putting him over there. Okay, got it. That's just so messed up. Oh, right.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's a fair point. So put yourself in Biggie's manager. That's who that was. It was Biggie's manager. Put yourself in Biggie's manager's shoe, right? He knows that he's got these high tense contract negotiations going on with Combs, and there is possibility there for Combs to make an example of him, because Biggie is going to go to another record deal theoretically for more money. So Combs making an example out of him to tell all of his other acts, like, hey, you can't go nowhere. This is what's going to happen to you. It does seem very strange. Like, if you have a studio where Biggie is, aside from this like award show, what is the motivation to sending him all the way to basically where he's America's Most Wanted?
Wow. But you know what? Let me tell you something. And I know it's crazy. Like, he can't run. Putting it there. Got it. But let me tell you something. I guess the caution you tell here is that read your contract, and then I have to put some responsibility on Biggie here, because if you mean to tell me that he was aware that Puffy booked those sessions in an area that Biggie felt like is too unsafe, why did you go? Oh my God, I'll sue myself. Then I'll pay it. My life is more worth it than just to go into dangerous areas and risk my life. And so, as much as Diddy is showing you his cards, I think Biggie is a little less than smart for going.
I think
Bubba really too. He came.
Bubba really kind of
like.
Say that one more time, Spooky.
I said Biggie was hood as hell.
I
don't see him being like, oh, I got to make sure I'm safe. He's probably like, and what? Like, I'm not scared.
Okay, so Biggie was like, all right, I can't run, but I'm going anyway. Okay,
got it. I dare him to, like, that kind of. I think that might have been.
Okay, so all right, yeah, I guess you can't. No, I guess I'm too preppy. I'd be like, where am I going? No, I'm not going there. All right.
Well, this is the point that I'm trying to make that Bubba highlights here, is not so much that he was necessarily planning for Biggie to get murdered, but more so, I have business motivations for him to be there. And like Bubba says, if Biggie gets dropped, oh well, I'll still get paid. I'll make a new rapper. And even more so, my current rappers will know not to negotiate in bad faith, because they're going to be afraid I'm going to fucking kill him. Let's take a look here at the comments just while we have an opportunity. What's your opinion? Similar to Studio 54, the elite could party and partake in debauchery. Diddy being a promoter made me think of the infamous club and those big parties the movie made about the club. I haven't seen it. I've heard a little bit of Studio 54. Do you guys know anything about it?
Yeah.
Just basically a nightclub, right?
Yeah, it was a nightclub with a PNP. Mm-hmm. People went there knowing that there will be bad stuff. Like, you don't go to Studio 54 thinking you're just going to dance and then go home. You go to Studio 54
like Diddy's parties.
I'm going to get my boobies touched and I'm going to twirl. You know what I mean? Like, you go there with that. Like, it's that's PMP. You're going there knowing something is going to happen and I want it. Party and play.
This Biggie thing would be the tip of the iceberg as Combs begins to truly ratchet things up to a point of violence that were kind of previously unseen. Oh, sorry. This was one more point I wanted to make. This is Violetta Wallace, who I believe is Biggie's mom. And she's saying, the truth is Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. That was a lot of money for Christopher back then as a 19-year-old. So his mom is pretty adamant that Puffy had something to do with it. That's the reason I included that.
So that's how much he paid Biggie, $25,000? Oh my God. Well, yeah.
In
Predators.
96.
Well,
I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but I'm just saying.
No,
he made millions. I mean, Biggie was a big star, so it's surprising to see that money, he didn't see any of that. So he died broke, poor-ish.
No, I think what she's saying there is that's the amount of money she was offering for him to go to LA, the $25,000. But again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're gonna really start to see. Yeah.
One question for everybody and even you guys. So, would you take $25,000 to go to an event? You don't know you might get killed, but it's an event in the hood where there's like gang violence. Would you take that risk, or would you say no thanks?
If I was being implicated in a murder there, I don't know.
You don't know if you just someone like here Beefy, I give you 25,000 to go spend the night at this club over there in the middle of Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah, if it was just anywhere, hell yeah, all day. I'll get some security.
Love it. Spooky, would you?
I probably would.
I'm too scared. I wouldn't. All right, that's it. What do you guys think in the audience? Let us know.
Just to let you know, the $25,000 in today's money is equivalent to about $50,000 now.
Ooh.
I mean, you know,
that's
it's not like
that's sweet.
Yeah, so it's not like anything to write home about, I guess, but it's also pretty convincing, I think, to sign somebody, especially somebody who was from, like I said, the hood. So he didn't have anything. So like 25,000, like to be in this partnership was probably like life-changing for him.
Life-changing, yeah. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, from this point on, as we're just going through all of Diddy's crimes leading up to the allegations that we're hearing about these past few weeks, from this point on, we're going to see this spike in violence. And it starts with December 27th in 1999, where Diddy would be charged with the shooting of one Jamal Barrows while in a nightclub with his then girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. Jenny from the block, yo.
Yeah. See, that's when I was around the US around that time. Learning English. Okay, good.
3 people would be injured during the incident, including a woman who was shot in the face and required surgery to restore her previous beauty. Combs, along with Bad Boy Saini and Diddy's protege, rapper Shine, that's him right there, Shine, reportedly shot the then rival rapper Barrows. After the shooting, Diddy left Shine high and dry to be left with the downfall when making a quick escape in his Lincoln Continental. Speeding through 11 red lights, they were eventually pulled over where all 4 occupants of the car were arraigned, including Lopez. Although J-Lo would be cleared of all charges, her mom was reported saying to her via cell phone, according to police reports, quote, "I told you not to get involved with him," referring to Diddy. And according to other police reports, was involved in the smuggling of the weapon in question into said nightclub by concealing the firearm in the crack of her ass cheeks. Certainly big enough. Just saying.
Wow. Is that true?
What?
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah,
are you joking? Is that real?
No, according to police reports, yeah, she smuggled the gun in for him between the cheeks of her ass. Yeah. Legend has it there's still munitions lingering up there. In fact, according to one Ben Affleck, he accidentally pulled the pin to a grenade during a night of risque fun with his soon. No, I'm just kidding.
That's wow.
You're
That's
so
crazy,
dumb.
Right?
But in all seriousness, yeah, she did smuggle the gun in for him.
And and she was not found liable at all?
No, yeah, she was charges were dropped.
That's
what money and fame and power can do for you, baby.
That wouldn't work today, but back in the day, I guess you could get away with that.
In the 90s, Jenny on the block, she was like, might as well have been God in New York City.
Wow.
I think she still is.
I wonder what makes someone so accomplished just stoop so intellectually low like that. Like, come on, smuggle this gun in your butt. All right. Really?
Well, Diddy is very manipulative, and just like all of these toxic abusers, he has these women under his thumb. He controls them. Like,
and
I don't know the extent of how popular J-Lo was when she was seeing Diddy back in '97, but she might not have been so she was. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he did it then, because you figure she'd be a woman of her own prowess, but was still somehow. It just really speaks to the emotional intelligence of these types of people, these like narcissistic personality disorder, and people that search out people to abuse and take advantage of. That even somebody as powerful and accomplished as J-Lo can be susceptible to it.
Narcissist
can. She was susceptible. Anybody. I think she was just trying to fit in. Like I think she was like that's my boyfriend, and I'm cool too, or like I'll do it, like I'll help, so that she could not look like, little Miss Thing. Like I think she wanted to do it as a way to, like I said, to like fit in with him, to make him realize, like in his eyes, that she wasn't some prude.
Well, that's exactly my point, right? Is that like somebody, probably one of the least susceptible people out there, because she's got her own money, she's got her own wealth and fame. She has nothing to, nothing to gain and everything to risk by, smuggling a gun into a nightclub with Diddy. But even her was somehow able to be motivated and influenced into doing this illegal action for him. It's crazy. It really speaks to how effective these people are with the people that they take control over, whether it's motivated through sex or love or, as we'll see a little bit later, money and drug wise. It's just, he's very learned at finding the ways to pick and screw and, move here and shuck there and, turn this pin and this this arm moves or whatever. You're just controlling people. It's what they do. It's fucked up. At any rate,
this picture of Ben Affleck, that angle for some weird reason looks like Chris. Just like a little bit. I'm like, oh, hi, Chris. Random.
Well, the charges against Combs would ultimately be dropped. However, Shine would serve 10 years in jail. Shortly after this violent incident, Combs would be in trouble with the law again. God dang, this guy's just on a roll. Like fucking, what didn't this guy do?
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
Well, that's
sorry.
Part.
Yeah. He would get in trouble with the law again as he recorded a music video with Nas and Diddy, and they could be seen carrying a cross and eventually crucified. And what's the name of the music video? I forget now. I had it down, and I don't.
Oh, that's Nas.
Does anybody know what is it?
That's Nas, right?
Yeah. So he had put out a music video with Diddy, and shucks, I forget the name of the song now. But it's actually Diddy's idea that a former altar boy, go figure that one. But it's Diddy's idea to have Nas act as pseudo Jesus Christ and crucify himself. And despite being no, it's not illegal. I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Just where the law, criminal aspects of it come into it. Despite being a willing participant and apparently being the one to come up with the idea, Diddy, the former altar boy and devout Catholic, decided he no longer wanted to be in association with, a crucifixion, even though he came up with it. So he went to Nas's manager, Stephen Stout, and asked him to take it out of the video, to remove it. Only mere minutes after airing on television, Combs and Stephen Stout would decline that. He'd say, no, we're not taking it out. This was your idea. The video's staying it is. We're not taking the crucifixion out. So mere minutes after airing on television, Combs and his bodyguards burst into Stout's office, recklessly beating him over the head with a champagne bottle in front of other employees and clients. According to Stout, quote, "1 minute I'm in the middle of a meeting, the next I'm down on the floor and Puffy and his guys are kicking and pounding me. One of them picks up a chair and throws it at me. Then Puffy throws my desk over and they just walk out like nothing happened."
Wow.
Stout would sue Combs for the assault, resulting in an out-of-court settlement of $500,000. Combs would also plead guilty to harassment and forced to serve 1 day in anger management. So, just to be clear, he has now shot 3 people, gotten 9 people killed and 29 people run over in a stampede, assaulted a talent manager, and he's only had to serve 1 day in anger management. And the craziest part about all of this is Puffy's career, it only surged in the wake of these allegations. And they aren't really allegations. Like he did all of this stuff. All of this shit he did.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
I find it really interesting. Okay, so for example, Kevin Hart, right? He makes a few tasteless tweets and gets canceled from the Oscars. It's like this person tweets something and they're canceled for the rest of their career.
But it's different time, though. Different time, right? In the 90s, there was no cancel culture back then, right? Because
but even still, this was, if anything, helping his career. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is counterculture was such an effect that him having this bad boy and gangster reputation only served to fuel his popularity. That's the crazy part.
I disagree. I think it's simply because there was no way for the public to know. These court cases were settled out of court, so nobody would have heard about that, right? So the impact of his behavior were not able to reverberate across the social
I don't know
spectrum.
if I agree with that. I mean, the news was still a
How,
thing. Like they were still talking about this stuff. It didn't have the social
unless you
reach that.
Well, but because the thing is, unless you knew about Diddy, or unless you followed him, which most people don't, and most people just listen to his music, nobody really sat there and analyzed who he was doing talent manager with or for. Unless you were in the industry, you wouldn't necessarily know of his bad behavior, right?
That story of the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, almost like exclusively because J-Lo was involved, that was all over Good Morning
Yeah, it was in
America,
the news.
Newsweek, all
Absolutely.
that. It was big news. It was headlines everywhere. And it was
100%.
just like people didn't care. They were just like, dang, that's badass.
Yeah, but like this current incident right now with the guy being beat up, that nobody knew that. That's the first time I hear about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So unless it was in the news, it didn't happen for most people. And even not everybody even watched the news. So the reach was so much smaller, and a lot of people got away with so many things because social media didn't exist and the world was not as connected. I think that's why it didn't his behavior didn't seem to have repercussions. Right. So if anything, that may have fueled his idea that he can get away with things because he just didn't see any consequences to his actions. Oh, all right. Hello, everybody. I think they're having connection issues. Let me entertain you while they try to get back in. So maybe I'm the one who got kicked out. No, it's not because I can see the live. So let me tell you something. So Diddy, I'll tell you my quick look.
Sorry about that.
I was trying to
Technical difficulties.
The
The show's alive, baby. What do you want from us?
I was about to start twerking. No, I'm about to tell them a story. I was trying to.
I was gonna tell
avoid
Bubba a
it.
story. Well, while we have a little break here, let's get into some of the comments because people are chiming off. Let's see here. Oh, Bubba says he would have gone for the 25 or actually 50K if he had bodyguards. Like I said, yeah.
Damn, you guys are brave. I am skittish. I'm naturally skittish. I've always been.
People do stuff for their significant. Oh, he's talking about J-Lo. People do stuff for their significant others all the time. Girl sneaks dope into a jail prison. Boyfriend beats the devil out of a guy for his girlfriend, etc., etc. Yeah, but not on the scale of like a Jennifer Lopez and P. Diddy. Like that was a little, in my opinion, a little extreme.
But Booba, you do make a point though. It's true. We've heard stories about like, the inmate got freed by the girlfriend jail guard, But yeah. Oh, Puffy. Oh God.
Well, as I said, all of these accusations did nothing but just excel his brand. Just a mere 3 years after these incidents, Diddy would be named America's richest 40 under 40 as the CEO of Bad Boy and the now premium clothing brand line Sean John under his belt. Everyone remembers Sean John, right? I had a pair of these PJ pants. Did you have any Sean John clothes growing up, Alistair?
No, but I modeled for Sean John.
You did? You modeled?
Yeah, I was a model in New York City.
I could see that. Did you make like good money doing that?
I mean, yes, I made enough to pay for school. Don't they all say that?
But you were able to like pay for an apartment and all
that? Yes, but
wow, in New York, you were living the dream, man. Good for you.
It's not really the dream. I was just the only thing that kept me alive was the fact that I just thought about my mother a lot. Other than that, that's the main thing why it kept me out of trouble. But yeah, I was in the scene.
So that's incredible. There are thousands of people that are trying to make it in the modeling scene in New York, and you went out there and did it. Good for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I made it. I just worked as a model. It was, and I got paid, and I went home.
Oh, Spooky's back.
Yeah, I wasn't a supermodel. No.
Sorry.
You're good.
Spooky.
Anyways,
with the dogs cut loose, and I didn't want to put y'all through that.
Oh, you're good. So with these blossoming, Jesus, I can't say that word today. Blossoming businesses and his brand as a hip-hop bad boy icon seemingly launching him into superstardom, Puff Daddy was worth a staggering $293 million in 1998 as he received the Golden Plate Award from the American Academy of Achievement. Moving on to 2006, Chicago Mayor Richard Daley he anointed October 13th Diddy Day. In the town of Chicago, there was a Diddy Day. Go figure. And in 2008, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There it is. There he is in the flesh. And then again, yeah, right. Probably spit and spray paint all over it, and God knows what else.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, he gets his doctorate from Howard University, as we mentioned earlier. He opens restaurants. He gives them to his kids to run. By the time 2007 rolls around, he starts Combs Enterprises. Put a pin in that because that will become relevant later as we discuss RICO predicates. All the way along to racking up several charges and lawsuits. A DUI. Again, this entire process, he's just more and more charges, more criminal activity. A DUI in 2001. He was sued for breaking labor laws at his Sean John factory in 2003. Also in 2003, he was sued for violently forcing a coworker to give up stock in Bad Boy. November 2005, he's sued by LA-based musical artist Richard Dearlove, who had copyrighted the name Diddy. Assault charges in 2005. It goes on and on. Like, there are so many criminal allegations against this guy. It's like we could be here. We could talk for hours about all of the bullshit this guy's got into. In fact, it almost makes me ask the question to myself.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
Mm-hmm.
That's never not going to be fun of me. I'm sorry. It's just, he's getting more and more famous, and all the while just leaving this wake of mayhem behind him. It's kind of nuts, but I want to get into some of the more disgusting allegations that we're kind of hearing about as of recently. First of which stemming from what can at the very least be described as an inappropriate relationship with minors. Have either of you guys heard about these allegations of the grooming?
Yeah.
To what context?
Usher.
What did you say, Spooky?
Usher and Bieber.
So, yeah, you have that, and then you have, from what I understood, is like pay off the parents to mentor these kids. So like, hey, have your kid come to stay over. I'll mentor in the industry. I'll compensate for whatever. And it worked. According
That's
to
crazy.
Yeah. According to
my mom wouldn't even let me go back to the dentist.
I know.
Like she was like in there while they were all up in my face. Like there was no way my mom was going to be like, "Oh, okay, Sean Diddy Combs, you want to borrow my kid for the week?"
Borrow my kid.
Borrow my kid for the week.
Yeah, borrow my kid for the week. You must be out your mind.
Yeah, my mom was like, "You're nuts." Like my mom never. Like I think about it now. I'm like, you know, as a kid, I'm like, God, Mom, you're like so annoying. Like, you know, you never let me do anything. But now I'm like, good
she
God.
just had your best interest at heart.
Yeah. Like you really do realize that when you get older. Like, thank God my mom was crazy and very, you know, over the top sometimes. And I was like, calm down. Now I'm like, thank God she spoke up when she did.
You guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what?
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Barone.
Ava Barone Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents but you're my child also. Please tell the story.
You're my child also.
I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up.
What?
And said to come inside and play with his kids.
Oh, just vile.
Heartwarming.
Yeah, right. This is the guy that, supposedly runs this empire. Is this great guy, that got the Star Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Diddy Day in Chicago, and this is what the guy's been up to in the background. It's almost unbelievable, but we have all this evidence to support it, so it is believable.
But I think also that speaks to how we revere celebrities, right? Because for a parent to be like, yeah, sure, go ahead, go spend time with P. Diddy, maybe you'll come back richer, more wiser, or bad English. But I think that's one of the mistakes is we revere celebrities, or we revere people who have money, right? If you're rich, you must be smart, you must be nice. If you're a celebrity, you must be great and amazing. It's like, no, humans are flawed no matter who they are.
I think some people have a talent for finding that.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor
Yeah,
Camp.
that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
Egan's baby.
Yeah, man. Faith
Egan's baby.
Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than
wow.
them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Hell no, he says. He won't send his own kids there. That's crazy. He had legal guardianship over him, and that's the lives they were leaving. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. And you have to sign that, right, by the way, and you have to sign an NDA. According to...
I'm sure they got to sign a lot more than that. If he was a legal guardian over him, I mean, there had to have been a lot more involved.
Yeah.
I heard NDAs aren't very like hold upable in court.
Yes,
like
they're not.
I agree.
They're not ironclad. We got into that with the Vince McMahon episode. They're definitely not ironclad. They really.
I'm not gonna listen to this.
yeah. And so just so you know, NDA, like you'll be sued to death, right? But the way you do it is that you tell your friend, and your friend writes the book, and the friend tells the authorities, Alistair told me the story, and then once the authorities conduct the investigation, then you're allowed to speak. That's how you go around it. NDAs, because people don't know.
Or if I happened to keep a diary and my friend was snooping around, like it's not my fault. I didn't say anything.
I heard Spooky went to Dee Dee's house, and this is what Spooky said according to her book. Yeah, NDAs can go around, but people don't know that. NDAs.
Yeah, so as soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying?
This is him with Bieber.
Yeah, this will be yours. So every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but go get the front shot.
Man.
A 16-year-old kid telling him he's going to give him a Ferrari.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16.
Remember when we went. Remember during the Vince McMahon episode, and we heard from one of the kids that was a ring boy during the minor allegations of the dudes that were assaulting the ring boy, the ring kids. And one of the victims said to all the kids out there, if you're talking with an adult and you start wondering to yourself, what do they want with me? You know what I mean? Like, what are they getting out of this? What makes me so special? If that alarm bell starts going off in your head, obviously something is wrong. Like, what is Diddy getting out of grooming Justin Bieber like this? I guess he thinks maybe he can sign him is like, you know, the best case we can assume. But there has to be an underlining, like whether it's sexual or it's power, I don't know. But there's something that really like steves me out and gives me the ick about his relationship, not just with Bieber, but with all of these kids, and why he is so motivated to have these children under his thumb.
That's right.
Grooming.
Can I just let everybody know when it comes to mentors, and unless it's your mom and dad or maybe your very close friends, nobody has the time of the day for you because to mentor someone is a lot of energy. And what do they get in return? Like Beefy said, that's right. And to mentor someone properly, you must do it with nothing in return. Most people don't do that. So if someone tells you, yeah, I'll just mentor you, chances are they want something in return, or they're going to do a bad job at it, right? So to any kids who watch us, which I don't think there's any kids, if anybody says, come here, little boy or little girl, I give you some candy and I tell you how to rule the world, that rhymed. Just tell them, just walk away. Like,
you got to rule the world.
Yeah. Tell my mama on you. That's so despicable.
Very
I watch a thing, like a behavior channel show on here.
The behavior channel?
Things that, yes, I love that show.
Me too. I like Spider. Is that his name?
Who?
Spider, I think his name is.
Oh, Spidey. That's one of the friends of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but, he did a really good video on Daryl Brooks. I like that a lot.
But Chase Hughes on the show said something that like it really resonated with me, that he said he tells his kids all the time that if an adult ever tells you to keep a secret,
don't keep it.
Terrified.
Yeah, but my mom.
Well, more importantly, don't keep that secret. Tell everybody
you
know.
Be afraid. He's like, unless it's like a Christmas present or something. He's like, but if an adult is ever asking you to keep something a secret between you and them, you should be afraid of that person.
Especially from your parents.
Yeah. Wow.
You come down, you gotta, wear your seat.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit.
Oh, he's 15?
Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
No, 16. Let's slow down. Let's slow down, Josh.
Okay.
Let's slow down. Okay.
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion.
So
where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing.
Looks like the aftermath of the A&E show, 48 Hours. You know, the murder show, 48 Hours? That's what this looks like. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Wow,
we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Blink twice if you're safe, Bieber.
Holy shit. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy. Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do? What you want to do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out with some girls.
Man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
I was gonna say, what the fuck do you think a fucking 15, 16-year-old kid is gonna want to do in LA with Diddy? I can only imagine the kind of shit they got up to. That is despicable. That he went and got Justin Bieber. God knows the things he did with that kid. It's just fucking disgusting.
What's weird is, didn't Usher sign him?
Yeah. That's what he just said at the end of that, is that Usher had guardianship over Bieber, and because Diddy is technically Usher's guardian, he was like his granddad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You would think that, see, that's what kind of makes me a little upset with Usher, because that makes him a little bit culpable in things too. Like, what he's about, and then you just found him a replacement for you and handed that little kid off, knowing full well what was happening.
Yep.
Well, Diddy has apparently adopted numerous children, lots of which are musical artists, but not all. And the extent of the relationship of these adoptions has very much been called into question in the wake of these newest allegations. Now, in reference to these new allegations, I want to talk about somebody named Cassie Ventura, simply known musically as Cassie. Do either of you guys know anything about Cassie?
No, I mean, besides what we all know, if there's something new, sure.
Well, Combs discovered Cassie, who was an up-and-coming musical act, in about 2004. He spotted her at a nightclub and initially signed to Next Selection Lifestyle Group. Cassie released her hit single, Me and You. Do you know that song, Alistair, Me and You?
One of my favorite song of her, yeah.
Yeah, actually, let me see. I'm going to pull... I can't play a lot of this, obviously, for YouTube reasons, because we'll get pulled down, but I feel like a lot of people, they know the name Cassie, and they don't know. She was on the cusp of a big blow up. Like, she was about to become something, and, you know, obviously that didn't happen, and how much can be attributed to Diddy, I suppose, is up for debate, but this is the song that came out that kind of put her on the map when Diddy discovered her. So I'm going to play about 10 seconds of this. Oh, there it is. Bad Boy. So yeah, we all know that song, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a banger. A bop. Everyone loves it. Who doesn't like it, right? She had all of the makings to be like a next hit superstar with an honest to goodness hit under her belt to show for it. The future looked really bright for her.
Mm-hmm.
And when Media Mogul heard that song in a nightclub, he reached out to her to absorb her contract under Bad Boy Entertainment after hearing that hit single. Actually, in Germany is where he heard that in a nightclub. And from here, things are going to take a real dark and abusive turn. It became clear from basically the onset that Diddy was interested in more than just managing her music career. Although she did have a boyfriend at the time, Diddy fabricated a musical event in the guise of getting her alone, not wanting to be a difficult client. Cassie obliged and flew out to this, you know, quote unquote phony event, which ended up letting her simply to being in a hotel room alone with him. And to his credit, it worked. By all accounts, from this event onwards, the couple were effectively inseparable, with the promise of him helping not just her burgeoning music career. Diddy, he groomed her. That's what he did. That, you know, honest to goodness, it's the only way to describe it. He saw a cute girl that he liked who was on the cusp of a good music career and didn't just want to take advantage of her financially. He wanted to just take advantage of her flat out. Diddy himself was quoted on a radio interviewing saying, quote, "If you're with me, 25% of the time, you're going to be in a living hell. I'll cheat, lie, we may fight, but the other 75% of the time, I'm going to love you like nobody has ever loved you before." What does that sound like to you, Alistair?
A narcissist telling you he's going to abuse the hell out of you and there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, okay. Well, Spooky, what do those words mean to you when he says that? 25% of the time, I'm going to be a piece of shit, but, you know, 75% of the time, it's going to be better than you've ever experienced.
It's like an asshole. Like,
yeah. Both of you are correct. But like in abusive speak, that's what we refer to as love bombing, right? Like you're really, really shitty, and then you come in real strong, right? Like you smack her around, and the next day you come in with flowers, and oh, I'm so sorry, baby, I didn't mean to do that. I'll never do it again. It's like just textbook abusive manipulation.
I mean, I don't
and
know.
Honestly,
if he's like flat out saying that, that's like such a weird like dynamic to being even a narcissist, because like they don't even necessarily always like I don't know one that would openly say that.
Yeah, right. That just like coming out and saying like, "Hey, a quarter of the time I'm gonna hit you." It is what it is. But like I'm gonna be real cool the other like 75% of the time though. So It's worth it, right?
I mean, I've like 25% of the time I'm gonna gaslight you and make you think that everything's fine or it was all your
honestly,
fault
let's
and you made
face
me
it,
do it.
it ain't really no 25-75 split. If anything, it's the other way, right? Like he's probably a monster most of the time. And then they finally get alone together and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to." I've lived this, so it like hits a germ in me. And it's just like, God, you fucking suck. I hate people that do this. They, whether it's mentally or physically, they overcompensate so you won't leave. It's like you can't be an asshole 100% of the time because nobody would put up with that. It's like the up and down roller coaster of like these high highs and low lows that really gets these people trapped. Again, I can speak from experience that you just think when you get into that good point where things are good, like, oh, there is hope. Like they're not like this all the time. Like I can change it. I can fix things. We can make this work. But it's just that cycle that repeats over and over and over again. It's also a really weird thing to frame abuse as like a relationship quirk. You know what I mean? Like him, just like you said, openly admitting that 25% of the time he's basically going to be the devil, and then 75% of the time he's going to be a prince. You're just basically going on live TV saying, "I'm an abuser."
Yeah, like, hey, what are your red flags, Beefy? Sometimes I leave my shoes in the middle of the floor. What about you, Alistair? Well, I beat my person about 25%.
Only 25% of the time, though.
Really nice at the other time.
And again, like framing,
quite right.
he's framing it as just like a quirky quality of him. Like, oh, I can't help it. It's just who I am. Can't be helped.
Oh, that's just puffy.
I'm fucking P. Diddy. I basically run my own. People change around me. I don't change. People change for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gosh, I don't even know where to start with all this Cassie stuff. I'm gonna pull up a clip here that just kind of says the abuse right from Cassie's mouth as to kind of what it's like being with P. Diddy. Before we do that, have either of you guys experienced anything like this? I know I've kind of been pretty public about like my experiences or whatever, but you don't necessarily have to get into it if you guys don't want to. But have either of you guys been with somebody like this who's maybe not all the time, but maybe borders on some abusive or narcissistic tendencies, and the split that he is referring to, the 75-25 split?
Yeah.
Like being physically abused?
Not necessarily physically abused, but have you ever had somebody manipulate you to this extent? Like the love bombing we're referring to?
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, you guys are more healthy than me. Moving on. We can't talk about that anymore. Oh, were you? Okay, my bad.
What's up, y'all? It's your friendly neighborhood international rap mogul superstar, designer extraordinaire, actor, marathon runner, father, friend. You know, I do it all, baby. TV producer.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
My homegirl Cassie right here. And we're coming to you live from our photo shoot for ID Magazine. She has her album in stores right now. Cassie, go get it. You'll know the hit single, Me and You. And, you know, we always communicate to you guys first. There's some things that have been on my mind that I asked Cassie if I could address. When you're a recording artist, you know, you have good days and you have bad days. A lot of times people don't understand that. Today I want to talk about how I feel as a record executive working with young talent. When you sign somebody that's young, you have to be there with them through their ups and their downs. My homegirl Cassie right here, she had a I would say it was a whack show. She had a pretty whack show on BET. You know, did not perform at the level of the Bad Boy excellence, I would say. That's keeping it all the way funky, you know? But it's very important that y'all understand that Bad Boy, we with our artists through their growth period, through their bad shows, through their good shows. You know, we love them when their records are hot. We love them when they trip and fall. At Bad Boy, we there for people through ups and downs. For all the new young artists out there that think this is easy, it's not easy, you know? You have to be able to fall down and get up. Granted, she had a whack show, but she also got the hottest song in the clubs, and she ain't never gonna give up because she down with Bad Boy. Every show she'll keep getting better and better and better. That's what life is all about. So all you haters out there, kiss my mother.
This interview was pretty interesting considering Diddy created Making of the Band. Diddy was very rough on how his artists came off. He put them through a series of challenges to prove that they could actually handle the heat.
Jesus, man.
So do you remember the Chappelle show when you did the skits about making the band? You played Diddy.
Oh, did he? I don't remember that.
He was like, I want y'all to go into the city and get me a sugar cookie, and then I'll open up the studio. And it was like, I forgot.
Well, Diddy would affect.
Said that.
Diddy would effectively treat Cassie as a slave. Friends and cohorts would even refer to her as such. She would carry his bags for him, alter her physical appearance frequently based on his request. She was frequently the center of these reported freak-offs, where several sex workers would all be gathered around her doing sexual activities with Cassie at the center, all while Diddy masturbated and filmed it. She was reported instructed to run... Oh, this is fucking awful. She was reported to run mop-up after these freak-offs. I'll let you guys... Yeah, you know, I'll let you guys fill in the blanks on what that fucking means. Oh my god, it's so fucking... But here's a quote from one of Diddy's friends in particular about a time when Diddy wanted Cassie to, I guess he wanted to shave her head, like, you know, the one side hair look that like Miley Cyrus made really popular. I guess he I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but he had seen that, and so he wanted Cassie to replicate that.
Scarface with that white woman was coming down the escalator. Yeah, he was in that man's house and he saw that man's wife and was like this. I was watching Puff. And nigga Puff was looking up there. He saw this white woman. It was bottles on bottles on bottles around. It was lit. Puff jumped out. Me and Cassie sitting next to each other. My wife right here, Cassie right here. The nigga jumped off the bar, came over and said, yo, Cassie, tomorrow, I want you to shave the side of your head. And I was like, what the fuck kind of request is that?
Boom, she just did it.
So when I'm like, what the fuck? So when I look up there, this white woman's side of her head was shaved, my nigga.
Oh, it's gonna take her so long to grow that back.
So I'm looking at Cassie.
It's a terrible look, in my opinion.
I was like, you're not about to do that, are you? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do.
There you go.
Cassie was becoming very engulfed in the relationship.
Whatever Sean wants.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever rock the shaved side head thing, Spooky?
No. I love my hair. Like,
yeah, it must take forever to grow back, right?
I got 4 inches cut off my hair one time, and I thought I was gonna die. I was like, my hair is I'm bald. Like, it took so long to have it grow back. It still feels like it hasn't yet. It's like, I'm like, no, never in my damn life.
That's funny.
Well, beyond the control he had over her, not just through the age and the money, but over her career, I'm sure she felt like she kind of had nowhere to go, because if she left, he would ruin her career. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of, if you leave me, I'll blackball you. And she did try to get away. We're going to get into some of that here in just a second. But she was very much a prisoner. Like a slave is really the best way to describe it. He was controlling all aspects of her life. And every time she tried to get away, he would either manipulate her physically, mentally, or with threats of, you'll never work in this business again. I mean, he basically took her away from her parents when she was just 19. She had no money, no freedom, and without Diddy, you know, in her opinion, she'd have no career. He owned her.
Her parents were deceased too, so they were not in America. She was an immigrant.
Deceased, you said? Oh, an immigrant. Okay.
She was an immigrant. Her parents were overseas.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, we know from
the Philippines, right? Did I get that wrong?
That sounds right, maybe. I thought she lived in the States. I didn't know she was an immigrant. You sure I'm thinking about Rihanna?
No, I think her Cassie's parents are from the Philippines.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, let's hear
from
here. Let's hear from another one of Sean P. Diddy's girlfriends on how abusive he could be.
And he had like, we were in his closet and he like pushed me and I fell to the ground, and then he like stood over me. So I was like laying on my back and he stood over me and he started like punching me like this. Like he avoided my face, but he like started punching me like on the side of my head, and I was just like covering my face. And he did that, and then after he got done doing that, he like, because he was standing, his legs were like stay in between me, so he stomped on my stomach.
So it was just like a jealous rage.
Yeah, I was like, I was just saying happy birthday, nothing else. I think he thought I was trying to be sneaky behind his back, because I like reached over when he like leaned forward to talk to somebody else. So he thought I was trying to be sneaky.
And you were how old at this time?
I was 22 probably.
Wow. God, it's so despicable. So yeah, you have just a little bit of taste of what it's like to be in a relationship with P. Diddy, and this is all going on in the background during basically his entire relationship with Cassie. Like, it did not take very long for him to start treating her like property, and it would eventually all accumulate in the famous elevator clip that everybody's seen. Have you guys seen this yet?
The hotel?
Yeah, the elevator clip where he beats the crap out of her. Well, trigger warnings up front. This is somewhat difficult to watch, but it's important to tell a tale here, because this is ultimately the catalyst for why we're talking about P. Diddy today.
Disturbing new video appears to support some of the accusations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
We want to warn you that this video you're about to see is extremely graphic. The surveillance footage that was captured inside of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 allegedly shows Combs assaulting then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway. A now settled lawsuit filed by Ventura claimed that she was trying to leave the hotel after a drunken Combs punched her. The video appears to show Combs chasing her down the hall, throwing her to the ground, and then repeatedly kicking her. So far, there's been no comment from Combs or his attorney.
Oh my God. So fucking awful.
I'm still very surprised why the lawsuit didn't go towards the hotel, because they have a duty. They have a duty to report that if you make the complaint, right? So because I believe she made the complaint, but that video just resurfaced now.
Oh, I remember hearing something about this. Yeah, I think him and his security team purchased that video, right?
I think it was what, $50,000 or something like that. But they're not supposed
to a copy to her too, right? Like,
no, because this video was randomly released, right? It wasn't her who released it, because she complained about it, and this video released like years after she complained, like 6 or 5 years later. So
yeah,
it's probably someone in P. Diddy
in like the raid or something too. That's what I think I remember hearing.
Yeah, it's someone in P. Diddy camp who released it.
Well, Diddy would initially deny any allegations of abuse in the wake of several of his exes coming out, responding to Instagram, quote, actually here, I have it here. Enough is enough. The last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. And obviously, this would be a difficult stance to take with the clip coming out, the elevator clip. So he put this post out when all of these claims were coming about him being abusive, like the clip we saw just before that. And then the elevator clip comes out, and yeah, how can you sit here and say people looking to make when there's footage of you beating the crap out of this girl?
Yeah, but so, believe it or not, some people still think he's innocent. Some people still think, yeah. I mean, you would think, right? So you would think if you have video of someone doing a perpetration, or even being found guilty, some people still refuse to see the facts and believe the truth, right?
People are
And
so stupid.
there are some people who blame Cassie for it, despite
Wow.
all, right? So it makes you it makes you wonder a little bit the state of now again, this is my personal opinion, but for I think for the individuals who, when you show them that the sky is blue and they go, no, it's not blue, it has a lot more to do with them than it is with the facts, right?
Yeah.
I don't see how you have something on video, and this is him saying before the video came out, and when the video comes out, they go, "Oh no, like clearly he lied, right? Clearly."
And even with him saying 25% of the time he's gonna do this,
Yeah,
he flat out said it. Like, I could say he's not the one that did it when he's telling you.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. It was wild. Well,
well, again, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, there is healing in justice, and so I think Cassie, because all the loss, all that stuff, I think she is, her healing is getting better for the simple fact that there's justice. She's getting justice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's definitely getting the last laugh on this one.
Well, she initially got a payday. He settled with her basically the next day after she filed abuse allegations, and that would be his undoing because that sparked the investigation into all this other stuff. So she not only got her payday, like she got her money, but she's also now getting the justice publicly and criminally. So, he's not getting prosecuted just in the court of public opinion. He's actually being prosecuted criminally. So he's getting his comeuppance. She got her justice. Certainly not going to make up for the horrible things she had to go through, but it's a step. Well, Diddy would ultimately change his position, claiming his actions were inexcusable and he hit, quote, rock bottom. All the PR buzzwords for a typical, AI-generated apology, like all the YouTuber apologies. I'm sure it's not AI-generated, but, it may as well have been. It's just the very formulaic response that you'd expect to see from any PR firm. Let's take a look at exactly what he has to say.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. I go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness.
You just said sorry.
I'm truly sorry.
I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry. What's the one thing we didn't hear in that apology?
Cassie.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything about Cassie? An apology to her, maybe? What the fuck?
Right. Right. Exactly.
It's fucking insane.
Exactly. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this American culture to, because I never understood apology videos really, but is this the American culture to say, oh, if you do an apology video, then you're absolved, or like it's all okay? Because in Europe, you can say sorry all you want. It doesn't even public perception doesn't change. It's not even requested. It's not even required. I never understood apology videos.
I've honestly noticed the opposite, that the apology almost serves to fuel that fire. Because even if you're not in the wrong, people are never going to be satisfied. Like this is a bad example of that. But in a situation where somebody is canceled for something like far less. Like, well, just for example, because we brought up earlier that the Kevin Hart stuff. He made some tweets that were really insensitive, that were kind of homophobic back in like 2000 or whatever. Not that that's an excuse, but the climate was very different. Anyways, he went out his whole apology tour and removed himself from the Oscars, and people to this day still shit on him for that. Like, so what? Is he just not allowed to work for the rest of his life? Like, at what point do we just say, like, okay, he's accepted he said was wrong. It was a different time. He's made amends. Let's move on with our life. But people like on Twitter and people who cancel culture, it becomes feverish, and there's really no end to it. They just want to drag and bring you down always, and it's just never going to be an end to it. Really, the only way to prevent being canceled is just to not let them cancel you, just to not give into it. I mean, obviously, this is a bad example of that, but
yeah. Because I was also going to say, you can't force anybody to work with you. So if I don't want to work with you for whatever reason is, then
like Kevin Spacey.
Right, like Kevin Spacey, right? So it's I think that's the silver lining with cancel culture. Yeah, I do disagree with it, but then in the same breath, you can't force anybody to work with you. So if someone deem your character not applicable to their moral values, then that's their prerogative, right? And I think that's the confusion with cancel culture. Ultimately, it comes down to watch what you say at all times, especially if you're a person that is of high stature, put that in quote, right? But like if you have a big audience, what you say absolutely matters. And so it's Diddy's fault for not thinking with the right head. But again, because he bought that video, so in his mind, he never thought that video would be released. And number two, he never had to pay up for his crime and misbehavior because everybody really was just afraid of him, and he thought himself a god. Even in the way he apologized in a very highfalutin way. Oh, I'm sorry. Look up in the sky.
Yeah, it was as textbook PR response as you could get. Yeah, copy and paste.
Yeah. Listen, it takes a bigger brain, a bigger person, even more integrity to say from one person to say to themselves, I messed up. What have I done? I made a mistake, or I was bamboozled, or what I did was wrong. That self-reflection is light years better than someone who just sits there in front of you and say, I'm sorry. I
think that's why a lot of people want the apology video, because they want to see and like kind of sort of analyze, and get their perception. Like they'll be like, oh, like you said, like what didn't he say throughout the whole video, or like what was he doing? And like people can kind of get that, so they're like, no, man, screw this guy. He's still.
There's no right answer to it, though. There's never in history been a good apology video. People have gone into it hating him and then gotten the apology video and been like, well, it's okay now.
I think the only thing I've ever seen that's close to like, not want to say an apology video, but like somebody that was like in so much shit was Eminem when he did his like, when everybody was like, oh my God, he's homophobic and blah blah, and then like Elton John did the Grammys with him or whatever, and everybody was like, all right, we're not allowed to, we can't say nothing anymore. Like,
well, that's a good example of you can only be canceled if you let them, right? Like he didn't go out on the apology tour and give into it. He just like basically didn't give it the time of day because he never really was homophobic to begin with. And then he did that thing with Elton John, and it was like, oh well, you guys really are making a mountain of a molehill.
Right, exactly. Like when it really spoke volumes that you had, Elton John was like, you guys are being dumb.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, if he's fine with it, then I guess he's still friends with him. Like it wasn't even just a stunt. He's like, yeah, we're still very good friends.
King of the game. No, sorry. Well, Cassie would.
Depends on what. Just kidding. Depends on what year. What year you.
Yeah. 80s. Yeah. Actually, no. 80s was probably Freddie Mercury. But anyways, Cassie would file a lawsuit against him, accusing him of rape, sexual trafficking, and physical abuse. Stunning revelations would come when she alleged that Diddy was responsible for, quote, blowing up Kid Cudi's car when the two were reported on a reported break, and emails found in Cassie's email box seemed to confirm she had sexual relations with him. So, Diddy's going through her phone. He sees there's emails saying that, this is Kid Cudi, by the way, that her and Kim, there was a night where, again, she's trying to get away from Diddy and she has no money, no family, nowhere to go. So she goes to Kid Cudi's house and they end up, hooking up. and Diddy would fucking explode upon the revelation of this. Cassie
Nice
seeing... What's that?
Nice pun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, yeah. Getting into explosions now. This guy's just like what the fuck? Hey, wait.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so when he discovers this, he just full on attacks Cassie with a corkscrew between his fingers, and later told Cuddy he wanted to make sure he was home with his friends when he blew up his car. Shockingly, Cuddy's car would indeed blow up shortly thereafter. Crazy stuff. This guy is a fucking maniac. Like, this was a headline, and people at the time didn't really know it was Diddy. And then again, with the fallout of all this Cassie stuff, we now know, like, oh, it was fucking Diddy being insane. The lawsuit. What?
Even all the things that he's like, I'm a fashion guy, I'm a music mogul, I'm a producer, I'm this, I'm that. And you're crazy on top of it. How do you have that much time to be? I don't even have that much free time, and I don't do anything but go to work and stay home. I don't have time to be crazy either. Like, how do you do that?
I think it's a telltale example of Icarus, right? Like, he flew too close to the sun and then he melted his wings. He got too comfortable with the amount of money and power that he literally thought he was untouchable. And it started off with, he shot a guy in a nightclub. He didn't care about victims of a stampede. I don't want to say small stuff, but in the scale of it, nowhere near to the flagrant flaunting of debauchery that we'll see with these
in everything.
Yeah,
he's
like literally
in PDF stuff. He's dabbling in shooting people and murders. And
damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
Exactly. Like, good Lord. He's like doing everything. Like, how do you have that much time in a day to be this many types of crazy?
I think he's an alleged narcissist, and I think one of their requirements is they need constant words of affirmation. So after a while, he wants to keep hearing "You're great, you're great, you're great." So he'll go around, put himself in position so people can say "You're great, you're great, you're great." It's a lot of
justify that outfit.
Secured. He's just a little boy, and that's the thing. When you deal with a narcissist, you have to meet them right where they are, and you can't just let them slide. You got to sue, confront, and tell them sit down. All right.
Well, again, the lawsuit from Cassie would serve as the tipping point. From here, the floodgates would open and people would smell blood in the water, police and authorities included. Even state and federal authorities, when they got wind of all of what Diddy did do, was up from his lawsuit, and he would basically get taken apart piece by piece. There are so many lawsuits and details to get through. I'm just going to go through and kind of rapid fire all these because there's so much. We would be here until like 9 o'clock at night going through all of the allegations. But just these are some of the allegations in the recent case file. November 23rd, 2002, 2 lawsuits filed against, alleging sexual assault and revenge porn. December 6, 2023. Sexual assault from a case in 2003 against a 17-year-old. February 24th. A 5th sexual assault charge, this time from one Rodney Little Rod Jones, that also involved one Cuba Gooding Jr., who was apparently a part of the racketeering charges. So we actually may see him in court. He apparently came on to Little Rod while they were recording, and it was said without said that Little Rod was supposed to have sex with Cuba Gooding Jr. Like, Diddy was basically trying to pimp him out, more or less. March 25th, 2024, several search warrants were executed in both LA and New York properties, seizing several computers, guns, electronic devices, and 1,000 bottles of lube and 700 dildos. It's fucking insane! Oh my god! And it's like,
all that, like,
try to find 700 holes to put those dildos in. Good luck, sir. Only fucking Diddy. And 1,000 bottles of lube.
I guess he's making holes.
He has, honestly, what is the ratio of dildo to lube that you need 1,000 bottles of it? Like, a bottle of lube will get you good for what, at least a week, right? He's
Well,
stocked up like the apocalypse, dude. He could have a freak off every day until the rest of his life, and he'll never go through all that lube.
No, it depends. Depends how often you do in one night, right? So
he's got fucking gallons of this shit. Like, what is he drinking it? You know that it's not edible, right? Like, what the fuck is he doing with 1,000 bottles of lube?
It goes to show there's probably more sexual assault than what the lawsuit alleges. So there's
He really hates friction.
That's probably his MO. He probably couldn't even be sexually intimate if it didn't involve sexual assault. Kind of like what Andrew Tate said. You know, it's like it's
those guys are
boring.
disgusting.
It's boring if it's consensual. It's like, oh my god. It's it could be it. Like after a certain threshold, nothing excites you except being a predator. That's the excitement. You know?
Yeah, it's the law of diminishing returns. Like, I mean, you're a guy, Alistair. You ever like spend a lot of time on Pornhub, and then like Standard Missionary and whatever just doesn't do it for you anymore? So you're looking up all kinds of weird, risque stuff because you're like desensitized to normal sex.
So, all right, let's dissect that, right? So yeah, I do watch porn, even though I'm married, and me and my spouse have plenty of sex. But you know, porn is just part of life. However, do I get bored out of the standard? Yeah, sure, but I wouldn't expand around the horizon of two consensual adults doing normal things. Like, I'm not looking into, you know, sex with animals.
This is the extreme case of it. I'm just saying it even happens normal. Yeah.
Like, I feel like what Diddy's doing is like he came to the end of Pornhub and he's like, I'm out of options. Like, I'll start making my own thing.
He got to the end of it, yeah. They just sent him a certificate in the mail. Congratulations, you corned all the hub. Who knew there was actually a last page of Cornhub? The fabled last. That's like, you know, when you Google something and there's like an infinite number of search results. It's like, oh, congratulations, you made it to the end of the brick road, the yellow brick road. There's a pot of gold back there somewhere. Good luck finding it. And it's an invitation to Diddy's house. Well, let's keep on going with these allegations. Same day as the search warrants were executed, Miami Herald reports that Combs was questioned by law enforcement regarding his allegations and an ongoing investigation. March 27, 2004, Cuba Gooding Jr. is one among many named in leaked lawsuit documents accusing Combs of keeping paid sex workers on staff by Combs Enterprises. April 4th, 2024, it keeps going. Sexual assault charges against Diddy and his son Christian. May 23rd, 2024, 4 new cases of sexual assault from the mid-90s, further alleging sexual assault, battery, negligent inflation and emotional distress, and violation of victims of gender-motivated violence. June 2024, another sexual assault lawsuit. July 3rd, 2024, former porn star Adira English is publicly stated claiming she was coerced into sex work during one of Combs' white parties. And finally, last month, former Bad Boy artist Don Richard filed sexual abuse charges. My good God.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
Yeah.
That's still such an incomplete list, I'm sure.
All culminating just a few weeks ago on September 16th, where U.S. Homeland Security formally indicted Mr. Combs and Combs Enterprises with sexual trafficking and racketeering. Just a quick note about the term racketeering, how we described it a little bit earlier. If you charge one criminal, you can charge the entire organization.
Everybody.
Yeah. What I think is a little different here is they only charged Combs. There's a lot of speculation to think that it's because everyone else is collaborating against him. I don't know about that. I mean,
I disagree with
I
that.
guess, yeah, there had to have been people that were complicit.
He's the one they're after.
So what I think happened, first of all, he videotapes a lot of that stuff. So there is video evidence of him doing the act. But if you look into what the feds are saying is that they are commercial males. There's other actors into play. So I don't think they're done. And
males and females.
Right. And so I think what they're going to do is they're going to ring him in. Whether he talks now is irrelevant. Because of the racketing charges, they're going to go after the staff after the person at the door, the regular people who don't have the money to fight anything, and they're gonna say, "You talk or you get in the clink," and they're gonna talk. And what I think what's gonna happen after is they're going to systematically go after every single people that were involved in that white party who happened to be shown on tape. And if you notice, a lot of those celebrities deleted their Twitter photos or their past situation that has to do with Twitter, most likely because they don't want to be associated at all with Diddy. And that's probably the reason why nobody's coming to his defense, because they're kind of like, oh God, I was there at that place. What did I do? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not on tape. I think this is going to be bigger than.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of proof of them like hiding things. Actually, we're going to get into some of this in the in fact, let's do this quick. Let's go through the indictments, and I'm going to try to blast through this because who is it? Oh Lord, she thick. it's easier to say what Diddy didn't do than what Diddy did.
Damn it! What didn't Diddy do?
Because through all of it, this guy is fucked. From sex trafficking to assault to SA, this thing has got everything, all the hits. Guy is a fucking fiend. Let me just do. Okay. Count racketeering, conspiracy. Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are his 3 counts. And most of the offenses in relation to these freak-offs in which Diddy would, as we said, pay sex workers to engage in sex acts with his then girlfriend, Cassie. Again, she would be the centerpiece, and he would hire dozens of sex workers to basically have sex with her, and so he could masturbate and record the footage. This is a practice that we refer to as cuckolding or hot wifing. There are differences. We're not going to get into the intricacies of those, but yeah, there is speculation he enjoyed the idea of having all this content of her being basically savaged sexually and holding the content hostage to keep her from leaving. So the day comes where she finally wants to escape his abuse, and he can say, well, you can't. I have all this footage from our freak-offs, and I'll release it. It's more evidence of the gross manipulation he was doing, like morally and otherwise. But that's just the basis of these allegations. It's really the minor details that are truly staggering. So again, we're going to speed through all these bullet points throughout the indictments. Guns, number 1, guns were seized that were scratched off, that had scratched off serial numbers. He's currently looking at anywhere between 15 years to life. Combs, with the assistance of various members of Combs Enterprises, not just solicited sex work, but transported these commercial sex workers across state lines, making this a federal matter. During these, quote, freak-offs, commercial sex workers would be forced to take various forms of controlled substances, in part to keep victims obedient and compliant. So there we go. He's forcing them to take drugs. Varying from alcohol to cannabis to ecstasy, you name it. These freak-offs would often last sometimes days at a time, with Combs needing to provide sex workers IV fluids because of the intense sexual intercourse and drug use for extended periods of time. Can you imagine the amount of fucking you have to do to need a fucking IV?
Can you imagine reading that about your fucking dad? Oh, I'm sorry, about your dad.
Oh God.
Yeah, but it's one of his sons, the one that looks like him, is also in trouble. For the same,
he's named.
No kidding.
For the same thing, it's just the culture of sexual assault. It's and it makes you wonder what the other sons there were like. It just puts everything in question, right? It's like if that's the family culture, that sexual assault every woman we see. So
it's just further bolsters the sex crime ring we kind of talked at the beginning of this. How he's basically the Tony Soprano of sex work. It's like this. He was running an enterprise. Combs Enterprises really was the business of sex, and it's disgusting.
Just
Various
imagine
members
not knowing this and like finding this out because of the indictment, like just off of a off chance, and then being like, he did what? And then like just reading that paragraph and be like, my dad? Ew. Like that's horrific.
Yeah.
Various members of Combs staff were forced to play a role either in the setup or execution of these freak-offs, including, but not limited to, booking of hotel rooms, stocking hotel rooms with, quote, freak-off supplies like controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, lighting, etc., cleaning of hotel rooms, mitigating damages with hotel staff. There's actual accounts of here of them paying thousands and thousands of dollars in damage from these freak-offs. Again, these are the things that the employees of Combs Entertainment are accused of doing alongside Combs. So one would assume that there are more charges incoming, providing they're not cooperating. That seems to be the common consensus, that the other employees aren't getting charged because they're working with law enforcement. Accommodating travel for sex workers. We know that they're going across state lines, so that makes sense. Number 7, Combs would frequently require his girlfriends to be put up in hotel rooms for extended periods outside of the public eye, as to give them time for their wounds to heal as a direct result of physical abuse. So he beat on these women and say, hey, you have to go sit in a hotel for a few days so the bruises can heal. That's fucked.
Yeah, it's quite awful. It's really, really bad.
Law enforcement seized large amounts of recordings, controlled substances, lubricants, and approximately 1,000 bottles of baby oil during the March 2024 search warrants. Combs manipulated others to engage in these freak-offs. Let me change that over. Via several means, whether that be through physical, emotional, or verbal abuse, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening financial support, etc. Combs coerced victims into willingly tracking their whereabouts, reviewing medical records, which is a breach of HIPAA laws, changing their physical appearance, controlling their housing and eating habits, and supplying them or at times denying them controlled substances. 11. Combs has been on record hitting, kicking, throwing things, dragging, at times by the hair, sexually assaulting, and oftentimes for days and weeks at a time, abuse that requiring these injuries to heal. God, this thing just fucking keeps on going.
Damn it, what didn't Diddy do?
Yeah, it just keeps on going. It's just him sexually assaulting everybody.
Just a couple more here. When negative publicity began to surface in late 2023, Combs and associates of his criminal enterprise engaged in witness intimidation, pressuring witnesses and victims, oftentimes through bribery, to stay silent or not report what they experienced, even going as far as to call them and provide witness statements with a false narrative of events. So in other words, telling people what to say. And finally, I could go on all night here, but just the last one. Diddy has basically just been letting his freak fly for decades, and all that fucking around finally has caught up to him. Like, he's officially fucked around. He's been, he's gonna find out here, is basically what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I'd like to get your final thought on the whole thing, Alistair. But before you do that,
the final thought.
So, he's the bulk of his crime. He's a serial rapist. I mean, a final thought on that is very simple. There is a current culture. I mean, albeit it's changing, but it's still very much prevalent that sexual assault the blame is put on the woman. The blame says, why did you dress like that? Why did you go like that? Did you went on a meeting and in his hotel room? What would you think it would happen? And I think the conversation, again, I'll say it a bit, it's changing, but it's not quite there enough. The conversation should be, keep your hands to yourself, or raise your sons better, or set a better example, dad, or just be a better person. How about that? Right? And so, final thought on a serial rapist, it's clear and simple. Don't rape. Keep your hands to yourself. What is wrong with you? And if you think there's an ounce of normalcy into what he's doing and what he's done, then you're a piece of shit. And you can have several seats. That's it. And if you don't like it, you can suck BICK.
Consensually.
I expect you to say that.
If you don't like that, you can have a good suck. Consensually suck. Consensual suck. Get out of here with that. Like you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised the number of people who minimize sexual assault. Then people who's like, oh well, whatever. Complete nincompoops. And like a complete detachment to the plight of someone else. I'm not interested. I'm far from interested. Matter of fact, don't suck me. Suck somebody else. Get out of here with that. Have several seats.
Spooky. What's your final thought on this whole thing?
I'm still digesting what Alistair just said. That was so funny. I don't know. I feel like what he said, I kind of mirror it, but I also feel like to kind of expand on it, it's weird too, like that we're trying so hard to make progress with situations like this that we've also kind of swung the pendulum a little further to the other side where like now you can like hook up with somebody and then 3 days later you're like, oh God, I regret that. You know what? Actually, I think it was actually rape. And like, that's not fair either. So like, we need to find some sort of a middle ground here where like it makes sense again, because
I've actually heard a lot of discussion about that, and a lot of not just surrounding the Combs case, but just in general with everything going on in society, that like we made so much progress throughout the past like 30 years, and not just surrounding sexual assault allegations, but everything, anything in relation to like political correctness. And the common consensus is really that we're kind of taking it a step too far now. I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I think there are examples, obviously, of extremes, but you could point to extremes on the other side where people are still being racist and homophobic or whatever. So I do think there is a happy medium here. Just what you're saying rings true is really the point that I was trying to make, that there's a lot of people saying the same thing, that we've gone too far with it and maybe we need to back. I mean, look at Hollywood, and it's like, we can't even make a fucking movie right anymore because we got to stick a female in every lead. It's like to the point where we're not even being creative anymore. But conversation for another day. In relation to Diddy, though, the part of this case that I found, I don't want to say most concerning, but like maybe the most perplexing, is how fucking popular this guy was when a lot of this was out there. Like, when the sexual assault stuff arose, he got taken to task. But a lot of the stuff that I went through today was very public knowledge. And, all the decorations that I mentioned, numerous awards, so many that I can't even count. Top 40 under 40, Global Lifetime Achievement. Like just this year at the BET Awards, he got the Lifetime Achievement Award. So it wasn't that long ago. He was conquering. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, just being a fucking monster. So I do think there is a conversation to be had of like, how much power are we giving these people without really knowing that much about them? Like, we may feel like we know these celebrities because they're in our ear all day and they're on the TV, but we really don't know what's going on with all these people. And to give them the kind of power where they get like a get out of jail free card or carte blanche to do where the fuck they feel like, I don't know. I feel like the power of celebrity carries too much weight in today's society, and this is a textbook example of that. That's my 2 cents.
And just like the power of like somebody being attractive, like how the weirdo women like serial killers and stuff because he's cute. Like, what in the world? I think the whole world just needs to be counseled.
There's a term for that. It's so weird.
The whole world needs to be counseled.
I was on my niece, and they're young, they're on Facebook and stuff, and she was just browsing through Facebook, and she showed me that there's a whole community. It's, I think, pen pals. There's a whole community.
Prison pen pals,
where they go and seek out like to date murderers.
Yeah, it's like a dating site for prisoners.
I mean, you always hear these famous serial killers now they're getting married in jail. Like, what's To Make a Murderer guy? He's getting married. They all have some chick side piece or whatever.
That's insane. Like, I understand why the murderer is looking for you, who's freaking out, running around and going to the mall. I don't get the person going to the mall, having a good drink at the bar, looking for a murderer that's going 50 years in life. I don't understand that.
Or on death row. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. We're just talking about this, Spooky. Wade Wilson. He's got a group
Wade
of
wives.
The Wade wives.
Yeah, that's what they're called, Wade wives. And like they've donated thousands. Like I think he's at like $60,000 to $70,000.
Oh my God.
On these crazy women. Yeah.
Drop dead gorgeous. He would be so gorgeous that if my pants drop. What's Wade Wilson? Come on.
Oh, you're going to be so disappointed when you see.
Yeah, he's not what you think. He's not what you think, Alistair. This is going to be bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
You see him?
They are like swooning.
People are going to want to see it, so let me just do this quick.
So, listen, we have a trauma crisis. We have a mental illness crisis that is seeping through people's life. To be a free person, look at that.
That's him.
Look at that mess. And what? He's a cannibal?
Those swastikas on his head and under his eye. Oh my goodness. Who couldn't love that? He has a big swastika on the backside of his head.
Clearly, okay. So he doesn't like anybody that's Jewish. Let's see.
Oh, sorry, I took it down. I didn't want to look at his face anymore.
I saw cannibal somewhere. Did he eat someone? Oh, he sent it to death. Got it. All right. Listen, we have a mental illness crisis here.
That's what I'm talking about. The whole world needs to be counseled. There's something wrong with everybody.
Yeah, get some counseling. Don't get face tattoos, and don't date somebody who's in prison. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching this week. It was great to be back. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've done this show. And Spooky, thank you so much for coming on today. It was great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me on and having me. It was fun. I like doing this.
It's always nice for you to be here, Spooky. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's nice to put a face to the name. And I love the gnome house behind you.
It's my little
we're going to make it spooky for next time. Yeah. All right. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Everybody who is there in the replay crew, let us know that you've watched it in the comments. We love hearing from you guys. Casey Chambers, John Bubba, everybody that's in the chat right now. Thank you guys for coming out. Alistair, can you take us home, my good friend?
Yes, I'll take you home. Just not in my basement with
take
1,000
me
people.
home tonight.
That's a good voice, actually.
Thank you.
Oh. Learn something new about Beefy all the time. All right. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. It's always a pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye.
End transmission.
Thank you for watching.